been paused. Okay, we're gonna give this a try.
Hello.
We're outside by the pool.
I don't think anyone's here. But...
I know, that's okay. We'll just. Oh, connection was weak. We might have to move inside.
Yeah.
Or closer to the house, but we're kind of close to the house.
I mean,
so
it's really weird because I've gotten Wi-Fi like all the way out to there.
I know, but I think because it's a video, we're streaming video, it needs.
I mean, but like
super...
back when I was about 16, we used to go out to there and go on chat roulette.
What's that?
It's like
Is it a video?
Yeah.
Stream?
Well, what you do is like you connect with random people on like a video like this, kind of like a random Skype thing almost.
Oh, it's roulette. I see. That's kind of cool. Okay.
Until you see all the dicks.
Oh, there's 4 people. Can y'all see us? We don't know if we don't know if we should move inside. So let us know how the connection is, and if it's not good, we'll move inside.
Oh.
And 6 viewers, yay! Hi, everybody.
My mom's gonna see me talking about dicks on here afterward, because I was just talking about chat roulette. You know, people like to show their penis.
Oh God, you didn't tell me that part.
I was saying that, and then right when we figured out there were like 4 people.
Oh, okay.
Watching.
Oh yeah. So that's how we roll out here, talking about.
Ask a sort of grown unschooler.
She's pretty grown.
I'm grown, I guess, enough.
Okay, so I'm Christina, and this is Gracie.
That's me.
And Gracie is an unschooler for how many years?
For 21.
21 years. So I was thinking about it.
Veteran.
When we were thinking about doing this, I couldn't decide if I should write ask a grown unschooler or just ask an unschooler, because I think I'm considering myself an unschooler, even though I didn't do it.
You're doing it now.
For my schooling years. Yes, ever since I graduated college, everything I've learned has been unschooled, right? Like, I did a couple of formal classes
and isn't
about
that
stuff,
how that works, though? Like, after you graduate, you just learn.
Well, sometimes, yeah. I mean,
unschooling.
So I chose rather than go to graduate school, because that was always kind of in my maybe pile. But I got pretty sick of the jumping through the hoops in the game of school. So everything that I've done for work, well, pretty much everything I've done for work since college has been, I've unschooled everything I needed to learn to do those jobs. Hi, Holly and Beth. There's Beth. So Beth's an old friend from back in the days, back in the college days.
Back in those college days.
Okay,
so college days.
So we need some questions. So anyway, Gracie has been unschooling her whole life. I've only been unschooling since I graduated college, but my kids have been unschooling for, is it 8.5 years? I think that's right. What's 15 minus 7? Is that 8? Yeah. No. Yes. So yeah, it's 8.5 years. Okay, so yeah, we're here for Gracie to ask questions. I mean, to answer your questions about unschooling, and I'm gonna see if I can get it on pull up the video on the laptop so we don't have to read the questions on the tiny little screen. I was hoping Delia would come in. Oh, there it is. Let's see. Okay, we have 2 likes but no comments, and it doesn't show who's watching. All right. Pamela, don't you have a question about unschooling? I know you do. Of course, you
better have a question, Pam.
She gets to talk to Gracie all the time, though, so.
Are you kidding? I've never talked to Pam once in my life.
Has she ever asked you about unschooling?
She's never asked me for anything.
So how about I'll just ask a question, since we don't have any questions yet on the from a viewer.
I know, the viewers, come on. This is for you. I'm supposed to expel my knowledge. And look where I am now.
So I want to know, I already know a little bit about your 0 to 12-year-old unschooling situation, because your mom's told me so. Tell me about it from your perspective.
Well,
like, what'd you do?
What'd I do? Man, I just lived. I was just like a human being, as everyone should be, to be honest, you know? I know things, and it's like, the problem is that people expect knowledge to be like, well, I have this list of compiled things that I know right here in my head. But it's not true, and that's not how anything should work, because it's kind of fucked up.
Well, you don't remember it when you get...
You don't remember it, but like, if someone's
yeah.
like, hey, Gracie, do you know this? I'm like, yeah, totally. Or like, hey, Gracie, what's blah, blah, blah? I'm like, well, maybe I know that. I'm trying to think. Do I remember learning that?
And it's stuff that... Is it schooly stuff that people learned in school and they want to know if you learned it in your life?
Well, those questions I try to avoid, and I'm just like, I don't have to answer those questions.
Well, yeah. But I'm
usually
talking about...
when people are being assholes and being like, so Gracie,
right?
What's the square root of pi?
Right.
Like, do you know the square root of pi? And they're like, well, no, but I went to school, so it's okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's
I'm
not
like,
cool either. But so,
that's the only reason people ask you those questions, is if they think you're stupid.
Well, what about, and even like your friends, even people that were your age?
Well, I did grow up with a lot of people who were school at home kind of kids.
Okay, right.
So they would be like, I don't get how you do get anything done because you're all unschooled and don't do anything and you're good lazy. What does it say?
She said, I just lived.
You just lived. That's true, man.
Yeah. Okay, but tell us what you did. So, you didn't do schoolwork.
I did schoolwork sometimes.
Is it because your mom was worried that maybe you were going to get behind, or is it because...
It was mostly out of my mom's worry.
And how often did that happen?
Well, for a while we did it every day. I was a lot more compliant than my older brother was.
How old were you when you started it?
We always had like learning time.
Okay.
And so we'd play like Animal Mom Go Fish, so we could learn about the animals and stuff. And we had like I learned a lot of Cuisinart rods.
Oh yeah.
Cuisinart rods taught me lots of basic math. And mostly I liked to build like things out of them, but they were still fun because I did learn a lot of math from them. I don't know.
Yeah. But you didn't do worksheets?
Fuck that, no. I don't think I ever did.
Did you do, so you did like manipulative?
And some people would find that weird that I never did them, but to be like, I don't know. If you're tuning in and you think that's weird, please let me know and I'll explain to you why.
We'll see. Occasionally, I will say something or ask something to my 12-year-old, and almost every time he's like, Mom, I know that. Stop asking me. Yeah. It is kind of annoying sometimes when people know when you're like asking somebody.
Kids.
Yeah,
especially kids.
When you're asking somebody something in order to like quiz them or like get inside their head, you know, like I want to know what you know kind of thing, rather than genuine curiosity of like, hey Gracie, do you know about blah blah blah, right? Like
my fucking aunt and uncle used to do that to us all the time because their kids are like really smart and go to not Ivy Leagues, but they are going to get into an Ivy League college because they go to a college prep school and they're really, really smart. And so they used to quiz us all the time, and then my parents yelled at them and they haven't done it since.
Okay, so that brought up a question for me. So adults would do the quizzing thing about like schoolish knowledge. Your aunt and uncle would do it, and then you said other kids sometimes too?
They wouldn't quiz me, but they would just be like, they would just kind of mirror what their parents thought about unschooling onto me, you know? They'd just be like, well, unschooling's unproductive. I'm like, what do you know about productivity? You're a fucking kid. Sorry, I'm cursing a lot already.
That's okay. So my question is...
I'm sorry for all those tender ears out there.
It's a pretty annoying thing that happens. So this is a thing that parents want to know. How do you deal with those people? Like you just said, my parents yelled at them, but like...
My parents yelled at my aunt and uncle. Peers,
like, what about
they didn't yell at. Strangers, we would just be polite and just like either try to answer the question to the best of our knowledge and just be like, well, I don't know, and then realize that knowing everything isn't the number one priority in your life. And if it is, then that's great, and you should learn all you need to.
Right,
but, you know,
and some people want to read the encyclopedia and like...
Some people want to.
That, yeah.
Samuel, my little brother, he... You know, what's funny is you mentioned not bringing Houston over today, and then I asked him, I was like, so do you want her to bring Houston? He was like, well, I have a lot of work to do, schoolwork-wise.
Right.
See, he takes classes at this, like, homeschool school place. It's really hard to... It's like homeschool classes, I guess.
It's a university model, so you just... If you want to take a writing class or if you want to take a chemistry class, you just sign up for the one.
Yeah, so he does pick the classes he wants to take, but he's, like, super serious about schoolwork.
Yeah, so this is an unschooler. he did go to school for a couple of years when his mom got a job, and
Yeah.
he's the youngest.
It was under different circumstances in education, though.
So anyway, so this kid is an unschooler, but he chooses to do his homework rather than hang out with his friend because he's really enjoying. I mean, they hang out too, but
Yeah, they're like best friends. So.
Sometimes he chooses homework over hanging out with his friend because he enjoys it. All right, so we have a comment. My nephew tried to quiz my daughter a few years ago and asked her how she learns if she doesn't go to school. She said, "Mama says I'm learning all the time." That's
yes.
right. So
that was such a good answer.
Right.
And, and then I feel like a lot of times kids, especially kids who go to school, like get jealous of you, and so they're mean to you. It happened to me like a little bit.
Right. And I think that's common with like the whole thing where like dad comes home from work and he's like, well, what have the kids been doing all day? Why haven't they been productive? You know, like sometimes dads aren't quite ready to fully embrace
My dad wasn't.
Unschooling. And I think some of that is jealousy that like their childhood was, you know, they were trapped in school. And so there's, you know,
yeah, my dad got tied to chairs and stuff. My dad grew up in the 60s and 70s, so he got like tied to chairs and like his knuckles were hit and like he threw a lighter at a teacher one time. No.
Oh, he's Catholic, so that's why I asked that.
But no, he didn't, I don't think. I think he just went to public school because it didn't cost anything.
Yeah, so they were tying him to chairs?
Yeah, they like tied him to chairs and stuff.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of learning happening when you get tied to a chair, right?
Right. when you're not allowed to like look up at the ceiling a little bit, when you get yelled at for that, I think that's where there's a problem in the education system.
Right. Little bit.
A little bit.
Okay, so we're taking questions. We have 22 viewers. Hey, y'all. We're taking questions. If anybody has a question about unschooling, we were gonna talk about before somebody asked a question. We were gonna talk about the conference that we're planning, and we're getting close to having a date for that. But it's gonna be in DFW, and it's gonna be
at.
Well, we don't know exactly.
We don't know where it's going to be at.
Yeah,
but it's going to be at a place close to you.
A very fun place, we hope.
Hopefully.
Anyway,
I mean, some people don't live in Dallas, so maybe not close to you, but it'll be close to me, and it'll be close to Christina.
Husband is so on board. This is excellent. Totally. Yay! So, yeah, anybody have a question, y'all, y'all type it in the comments.
I'm glad he's on board.
Yeah. It's
because it's really like
it's a little bit of a process.
It's still like a partnership, you know, when you're leaving whoever, and not every mom's the homeschool parent, you know.
No.
But
we have a family in our co-op where the dad is more into unschooling than the mom. I heard that Chris's wife is like kind of not, you know, trying to
Chris, he's cool.
Figure it out and come to accept it, and you know. She's not quite there, and he's totally there. So I mean, it's not a gender thing at all.
It's not a gender thing, but it happens that it happens a lot more often that it's the mom more into it than the dad. But it's not like we're saying this is this and it's black and white. No, it's not true. But
we're unschoolers. Nothing is black and white.
Nothing except like black and white movies.
Those are
black and white.
Sometimes those are kind of sepia tone. Okay, for when the time comes. Oh, look, I think we have a question. All right, for when the time comes, any tips on how to approach the sciences like math, physics at the high school level? Do you rely on tutors? Losing the fear about this is important. Okay, so before you answer that, because I want you to tell about your experience and the kids you know who have done high school level, in quotes, I'm going to put that in quotes, high school level math, physics, sciences. Yes, some people do rely on tutors, but unschooling, so I don't know if this person knows what unschooling is. It's a form of home education, and we don't try to cover the high school sciences like the way the question is worded, in that only if the kid is interested in it. So if the kid is interested in those things, we already mentioned the university model, homeschool option.
Classes.
That's in Dallas, and a lot of towns will have like kind of a cooperative or some kind of
and a lot of times like
a la carte classes.
College. Sorry.
And then so tell about your experience with community.
And sometimes at community colleges they will have like I
Dual
know.
credit?
Well, not dual credit exactly. It's like for homeschooled kids, and they'll have like middle school classes
Oh, they
and
do?
high school classes. Yeah, they used to at Eastfield. They don't anymore, but I'm sure there are community colleges out there, not around Dallas anymore. I don't think.
In
that offer
Texas,
those.
yeah, in Texas there's a dual credit program so that once you're, is it 15 or 16?
16.
So when you're
You're
16,
just a junior. So if you're 15 and you're a junior, maybe.
okay,
if you're
right.
a junior,
You can go to the community college and you just kind of test in to the right placement for math or English or whatever you decide you're going to take. And
for all, you have to take a test for all of them.
Right. So and it's free because it's paid for that by the county, I guess. And then you get high school credit and college credit both. So that's one way that you can get those kinds of things. And as unschoolers, we would only do that if the kid is wanting to pursue that kind of stuff. The university model, which is a private, the one Sam goes to is a private thing. But then there's also homeschool co-ops where people will get together and parents will teach,
they'll teach classes
physics or
and
teach
stuff like that. And then whatever kid's interested, they take that.
Or what other options? Do you know, is there anything else that your friends have done for that schooly kind of academic
They
subjects?
mostly went to Prometheus Academy.
Okay, so that's the one we were talking about in town. So we have another question and it hasn't gotten on my laptop yet. Let's see. She says, I've heard of unschooled children as young as 13. Yes, so it depends on your, sorry, I'll read the whole question. It's unschooled children as young as 13 taking classes at community college. So yeah, it depends on the...
It depends on the community college,
Yeah.
really. I don't know where you live, but...
Sean's in Colorado now. She used to be in Oklahoma. So,
okay.
So maybe in Colorado. I
Or
don't
in
know,
Oklahoma, or either one of those places. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah, so it depends. You
It
just have to
depends.
call up your community college system and ask them what kind of options they have for
Yeah.
homeschool kids to take, to start taking classes, what age and all that. And then in Texas, you just create the transcript because your home is a private school. You create a transcript that shows all the stuff you've covered during the years, the previous years, and then you turn that in. You take a placement test and then, and if your kid has never had math, they just get placed in the remedial math class and just start from the beginning.
They get placed in the, in developmental math.
Right.
I was placed in that. Hey!
Woohoo!
And I only took one math course.
And then you were done.
No, I was done.
Meaning
I was done emotionally.
Right.
I didn't finish my math. I didn't finish college, by the way.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean,
and maybe one day Gracie hasn't
maybe
decided.
one day I will, but at this point, I don't see college in my current future plan, and that probably scares a lot of you people with kids.
But your brother went to college.
My brother,
done.
he's graduating. Yeah, this semester he's graduating.
And lots of unschooled kids do go to college. But the difference really is that unschooled kids only go if they are really interested in doing it, and
a lot of unschooled kids go. Like, the only other people who I know that haven't gone to college from my unschooled group are like addicts and
oh dear,
and
which they wouldn't be going anyway if
they wouldn't be going anyway if they were in
school.
school or not. So I don't think it has anything to do with unschooling. I myself am
you're
like
the only non-addict unschooler.
I'm not an addict, by the way. I don't shoot up heroin or anything. I promise.
I'm just imagining all these parents that are thinking of all these unschooled kids that are addicts. Would you say it's a minority of unschoolers that are addicts now?
It is such a minority. I'm talking 2 or 3 people here.
Okay, yeah. So I'm like hearing alarm bells go off in the heads.
And even the unschooled kids that I know, like, they're not actually even the unschooled kids that I've met before. They're the ones that grew up homeschooled. So now that I'm thinking about it,
the ones that are addicts are not unschoolers; they're homeschoolers.
Yeah.
Oh, see. No, I'm sure there's addicts of all.
There are addicts of every race, creed, and whatever, what have you.
But most of the unschooled kids you know of that you grew up with have chosen to go to college. The majority of them.
Yeah. I mean, the ones I was friends with. I mean, There's a lot of kids that go to high school. And the thing is about college is like, there's a lot of kids that leave high school and go to college because it's 13th grade and they don't know what else to do with their life, and they don't, I don't know.
That's what I went.
I feel like I've
to go.
seen, that's the thing. You're expected to go to college. And even, it's kind of weird to me as an unschooler to be thinking that I have to go to college because this is what everybody does, when I've been raised my entire life not going to school at all, not going to any sort of educational institution, and
just learning what you wanted to learn about, when you wanted to learn about it, in the way that made sense for your brain.
And I guess the difference is that you can't get a good job without a college degree, and you won't be a well-rounded person if you don't go to college. So I guess I understand that from some, I guess I kind of understand, but that's it's societal norms is what it is. It's a bunch of bullshit, you know? And so definitely. I feel like I don't have to sign up to do something that'll make me miserable for 4 years, cause me a lot of debt. My brother's in debt right now because of a stupid fucking degree that's not, and first of all, he's a violin performance major. Places you audition at don't ask you for your college degree when you play the violin. So
why did
it's not like it's a guaranteed job thing. He went for his teacher, so it's not like he went to get his degree.
For his teacher?
He went because he wanted to go study with that person.
Okay. So he chose to finish out and do the whole, because the teacher at that college, he wanted to study with that person.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But he did it. And, well, he's still technically doing it. He has, like, an online class. He came back and lived with us. So.
He's almost finished.
Michael, I don't know if he's going to go, because he went to Texas Tech, so I don't know. Are there questions?
Serenity just said her son went to community college. I think that means at 14.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Does he like it?
I don't know. There's Lisa. Okay, Lisa has a question. One of the things I love about Unschoolers is they are not boxed into the college to career path thinking. Yes, that is true. There are so many other opportunities in arts, trades, and entrepreneurial ventures, and I gotta see more. I've hit refresh.
This country was founded on entrepreneurs, you know?
Totally.
We're a country of entrepreneurs, and we're not creating entrepreneurs by sending them to colleges, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think college is bad. I think college is great.
A lot of institutional learning, though, does lend itself to creating closed minds rather than opening minds.
Yes.
And so that's why I think a lot of times entrepreneurial types of people choose not to do college, or choose to drop out of college, or maybe don't use what they learned in college because they end up, you know. And I'm going to finish her comment.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
That's okay. It was especially in our current economic situation, and that is so true, Lisa, because so our society is changing, the economy is changing. The model of school that we're using is over 100 years old. It was created to...
Well, and if you think about how long schools have been around versus...
Right, so the
education and like,
right,
you know.
So the model we're using is over 100 years old. It was made for a different time, a different world, you know, a bureaucracy that doesn't exist anymore. It's changed. And so we need to change the way we educate our kids for the 21st century. But also, I mean, that school system was designed to make for good factory workers and soldiers, right? And which it does. It turns out people who move at the sound of a bell and pee when you tell them to pee and eat when you tell them to eat, and they don't question, you know, authority. They do what they're told for the most part, and they fear authority. You know, they get to the point where they're controllable, and that's just not what we need for the 21st century. Okay, so we have a question. You mentioned that as long as the child is interested, they can study math or go to college, and I understand that, but I guess I need to understand the laws in Texas better. I thought perhaps mistakenly that some of these subjects were required by law, and it sounds like you're saying that is not true.
It's not.
Okay, so in Texas, I'll probably get it wrong, but you can look it up. The Texas Unschoolers Facebook group is a good group. They have some links to the different to the Texas state laws, but you have to teach. Let's see, reading, writing, good citizenship, math.
Good citizenship?
Yeah. And I want to say history. Science is not on that list. I do know that. And so the way that you do that in
we
Texas,
have the evangelical Christians to thank for that.
That's right. So, yeah, I never, well, I won't say it. Thank you,
Thank you, evangelical Christians,
for creating a law that allows us a lot of freedom.
Because, you know, that is the other thing, is that I hate that our government in Texas is run by a lot of, like, really very, 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 very Christian people. But the fact of the matter is that those laws that have been passed because of the evangelical Christians go both ways to where unschooling is possible. Yes.
Right. So it allows us a lot of freedom to and a lot of leeway in terms of how we teach the subjects and in what order, right? So we just have to cover those things, and which you do. And when Gracie said earlier, she just lived her life. Like, you learn math through living life, through cooking, and through building things, and you know, there are a lot of different ways that you can cover math. Cover that subject of math. There are a lot of different ways you cover the subject of writing. One of the ways that my son did that was making a list for Santa Claus, because he didn't want to write anything. So he wrote thank you notes and lists for Santa Claus, and that was all the writing he did for a while. Sometimes he would write words on his pictures that he drew, but for the most part, that was our writing curriculum. And then, as he got older and wanted to communicate and wanted to use the written word to communicate, then he would write more often. My daughter is 6 and she's learning to write.
I think that's why Facebook's kind of great, and like the
Yes.
internet's great, because
Yes.
it's like, you want to talk with your friends on Facebook, you got to learn how to write.
Right.
And read.
Right. So you cover those subjects, but in Texas we have a lot of freedom in how we cover them and when we cover them, in terms of just living
and it's
life.
at your
you
discretion
get
whether you
those
think
things.
they've learned them or not.
Right. So in Texas you're a private school, and so you set their curriculum. One-time note. I don't think it. Okay. So Kayla says, I thought Texas was a one-time notification state, and that I don't believe is true, because
What does that mean?
Well, that means you have to report to the state and say you plan to homeschool your kids. It's only true if you withdraw them from school. So if they've already been in school, you do have to notify the school that you're pulling them out to homeschool. But if like your mom never put you in school, so she never had to tell the state that she was planning to homeschool.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
So you only notify the government if you are withdrawing from school in Texas. So Jeffrey, I hope that answers your question. Let me know if you have more questions about that.
Jeffrey, ask all the questions. Everybody ask all the questions.
Yeah. How long have we been doing this? Ooh, almost 30 minutes.
Whoa, no way.
So I don't know. Should we just take one more question?
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm
Is
up
30
for
minutes
more
too
questions.
long?
I don't think it's too long. I don't know.
There's Crawford Miller. Hey, Crawford. Lots of friends.
Hey, there's another unschooler.
There's a grown unschooler. We're doing a live broadcast.
Oh, you are?
The subject is Ask an Unschooler. So here's Bobby.
I was an unschooler.
That's right. And he's almost done with college.
Yeah.
Tell us about your college experience as an unschooler.
Oh, it was pretty
You can
cool.
be as
like,
honest as you want.
Yep. I can be as honest as you want. Like, yeah, like it was kind of like a weird like shame environment compared to compared to
Shame
unschool.
environment.
Tell us about that. So it was a big contrast for you in terms of the way you were raised, and then you went into this institution. So
Yeah. So it's just much more about, being intellectual and like proving your worth and stuff like that. And that was,
See, and that's what I don't jive with, which I also experienced
I never really drived
going to
really
just
well
community college.
So I was like trying to play the game, but trying to keep my distance at the same time.
And that's what it is. It's a game, right? It's not necessarily so much about learning as it is performance and grades and kissing ass to professors, and it's shit like that, right?
Yeah. So
How much ass did you kiss?
a little bit. I didn't have to kiss too much. So.
He wanted to graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about the transition from going, to the I'll call it the less shame-based environment, the absence of shame, to and you went to community college first.
Yeah.
The dual credit program?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that wasn't so
That's
bad,
not
because it was
going
basically like I was still homeschooled basically, because I would just take a couple classes and then do my violin thing. But yeah, once I got to university at Texas Tech, yeah, it was much more. It was much more like personal with my professors and
Yeah.
yeah, and so having to kind of kiss up to them sometimes was tough, you know.
And then how did you handle, like, a lot of parents always ask, well, if you got to sleep as late as you wanted and you never had to do like lessons, like, worksheets or whatever growing up, how did you handle, all of a sudden you have this responsibility of making it to class and doing your work and turning your shit in on time, and how did that go for you?
I mean, it went pretty well. Like my first semester was kind of bumpy. I kind of like messed up a few of my classes because of that. But I mean, really, it wasn't too bad. Like,
so
I wouldn't worry about it.
It was a learning curve that first semester.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty common. Like,
sure, kids in school, even kids that went to high school do
like
that.
Our cousin that just went, like, he had a hard first semester because it is a big
He's
transition.
going to Purdue.
Yeah, he's going to Purdue.
He's going to
too.
Purdue as an engineer.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think he switched to.
Did he switch?
I think he switched to some sort of
Yeah.
sciencey thing.
So he did. He's the cousin that you were talking about that did the college prep, high school type.
Well, yes, but his parents weren't the same parents. It was a different cousin.
Okay. But he graduated
He did go
high
to
school.
college prep, but they weren't ever. They were always really. They're like one of my favorites out of everyone on
Yeah,
that
they're
side.
pretty cool.
They're more laid back.
They're a lot more laid back. At least they're like too polite to say anything. You know,
They're
the other ones are just assholes.
We were
sometimes.
talking about the cousins kind of giving y'all shit about unschooling, when you were kids or.
Like,
yeah.
they used to
Quizzing
quiz
you.
us.
The quizzes.
I remember one time we were sitting on the couch and my aunt was like, "Oh, okay, who is?" It was, I don't even remember who it was. I don't even care who it was. But she was like, "I'll give you one clue as to who it is, and then you have to guess." And we're like,
Some kind of
"I fucking hate you." And
thing.
she was like, "Give you one clue, Eureka."
And it was some sort of.
Yeah, Einstein didn't
Yeah.
even say Eureka, but anyway,
Is that what she was trying to say?
I think so. And like that's a cliche.
So
Shows
she
what-
even got it wrong.
I know.
But anyway, yeah. I remember Therese. Do you know Therese?
Yeah.
Yeah. She used to
She might be
always.
watching.
She would give us like fun facts because like sometimes just in case someone tried to quiz us randomly. She was like, here's a few. Here's
See,
some.
that is cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I always liked fun facts because it felt. Were you smelling my armpit?
No.
Oh.
That's tricky.
It felt more like they were sharing in knowledge rather than trying to make me feel bad about not knowing knowledge. So
Right. So that is
know?
one thing that I've told parents, like they get worried that their kids are going to get quizzed by their in-laws or whoever. And so like sometimes I'll tell people just like whatever your kid's interested in, like if he's really into, reptiles or something, like your kid has zillions of facts about reptiles that they can, so if somebody asks them a question that's like some stupid schooly, fact that they don't know because they weren't in school or
like,
whatever.
ask about reptiles.
Yeah, just start telling them like lots of facts about reptiles, and then that diverts the conversation and satisfies that adult who like wants to prove that your kid knows nothing because you're doing nothing all day. And so then,
I really hate those people.
I know, right?
Like if that's how you want to live your daily life, then
Whatever.
not even kudos. I don't even want to say that. I just want to say
You just
I don't
want to say
like
poo
you.
poo.
I want to say poo poo to you.
That's what you want to say.
All right, so we have a good question.
question.
From Jeffrey. Thanks, Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeffrey.
All right. Did you find that there
Jeffrey.
were subjects where you felt behind most of the other kids that went to regular school because they had more training in some area or other? Hey, Crawford Miller.
Yeah, I would say that the only one that kind of gets you sometimes is math. Like that one was tough. But I mean like when you go into college, you take like a what is it like
Placement
a
test.
placement test.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean like if you are not if you haven't done a lot of training with that, you can just start at the bottom and work your way up. I
Start
mean
from
it's
the
not a
bottom
big deal.
right here.
Right. So Jeffrey, there's a great book. Oh gosh. Is it Free at
Saxon?
Last? Is the Sudbury book called Free at Last? I think it's called Free at Last. It's a book about Sudbury Valley, and it talks about how you can learn, a student can learn K through 12 math in 20 contact hours once they're interested in it, once they're ready. So, at 18, you can, if a kid decides they want to go to college, they can sit down, and if they're wanting to learn it, it's possible to learn K through 12 math in 20 contact hours. Ish, that's the average for people. So you can do no math, in terms of book math. You just learn it in real life, right? Math concepts, but you can do no math on paper until you decide you're ready to do it,
Yeah.
and then you can just catch up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I want
Never
to
mind.
finish. I want to let you answer too where you felt behind. So I think this is something parents worry about, that their kid is gonna feel behind, like feel inferior or feel, like they're behind everybody, and so they're worried that they might not ever catch up. This is what parents worry about.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
I want y'all to talk about not just were you behind other people in math, but how did that make you feel, and how did you handle that?
Well, I felt that way up until I got sick of college. So I felt like, man, I'm so behind on everything. I'm so behind on life. I've missed out on all these life experiences. And then by the time I got sick of college, I realized that it was all just kind of bullshit. And the feelings I was feeling were, I mean, it's not that the feelings themselves were bullshit, but that, like, I shouldn't have felt that way anyway, because once I quit and I started, like, talking to other people my age, first of all, they know just about as much math as I do. And second
And
of
they
all,
sat in
nobody
class all the
sits
time.
around and talks about math. You know?
Right.
Like,
So do you feel like you were just buying into society's whole mindset of, if you don't know multiplication tables by the time you're blah blah age, then, you might. So did you ever talk to your mom about that?
not really. I mean, I didn't.
You kept it bottled up. That's the best way. That's your first
Just
lesson.
keep bottled up.
If you feel anything
If
at
you've
all,
ever seen
just
that
bottle it
musical,
up.
if you ever see that musical, The Book of Mormon,
bottle it
there's a
up.
song called "Turn It Off." So it goes, "Turn it off, like a light
Light
switch.
switch, yeah.
Let's go flick."
But,
It's a cool little Mormon trick.
But,
So I had an experience where Houston, he was 8 and he had been out of school about a year, and asked me, he goes, what's a job that you can do without knowing anything? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, I said, what do you mean? Like picking up trash on the side of the highway? Like, I was just trying to think. And then I said, why are you asking me this? And he said, well, I know I don't ever want to go back to school again. Right. And in his mind, learning happens in school. And so he thought that, and I guess he was just trusting me that, like, I was going to help him figure this out. But he's like, he really thought, I'm not going to know anything if I don't ever go back to school. And so I realized that I had been reading all this stuff about unschooling and learning how kids learn all the time, and you don't have to sit down with a worksheet to learn math. But I hadn't told Houston about that, and I hadn't really talked to him that much about,
dang.
and so he still was buying into that mindset. So we had to, consciously have that conversation of, like, you're always learning. Whatever you want to do in life, you'll be able to learn it.
I think it doesn't matter exactly what you learn. It's just something that you can put your time into that's positive. Put your energy into that's positive. It doesn't matter if it's being a mechanic or being a scientist or whatever.
Unless you fix cars with paper clips and bubble gum.
Unless you fix
Mario.
cars with science.
Mario doesn't fix our cars right. I hope you're watching, Mario.
No! Mario's a plumber.
No, he's not.
Oh,
Mario
yeah.
fixes our cars, remember? With paper
yeah.
clips and bubble gum.
Paper
We made that up when we were like 12, and for some reason my parents went back to the same mechanic who
Not
fixes
always.
our car
He
badly.
did a good job this time, though. I think he did.
I don't trust
y'all
him.
aren't gonna give up on him, huh?
No, not Mario. Not good old Mario.
Oh my gosh.
Gives us
Okay,
a
so
discount.
Kayla says, my 12-year-old said just now, I've never been in school, and it's just normal for me. Like, who cares?
Yeah, for
Awesome.
real. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
So everybody,
Well,
has a different experience.
Yeah, I'll say, like, I wasn't really, like, interested in, like, reading and all that stuff. And, like, I had a hard time, like, learning how to read once I did. But,
How old were you? When
I
you
was
were
like 10.
Okay.
So then, but, like, it took me, like, 6 months, and then I was, like, reading, like, Harry Potter.
Because you wanted to learn.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that?
Right?
Did y'all hear that? So at 10,
Yeah. I didn't really
took
really
him
care
6
about
months to learn to read
it. Yeah. And
chapter books.
Let me tell you the
Like,
opposite
that doesn't
thing,
sound
too.
hard to me. I
No.
mean, I know, it took a minute for you to, like,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
your brain to
But it was
figure out-
basically like me and Gracie were just like playing outside, playing pretend until we were 10, and then I was
Yeah.
just like, you know
And
what?
even after that, we play outside. We play.
Yeah.
No, but here, let me tell you the opposite thing. I learned to read when I was like 3 or 4, right? But I don't like to read.
Yeah,
And I didn't never like to read. I just learned how to read. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I knew how to read. I knew how to, like, write things. I remember one time writing the word asshole when I was like 5. And I was like, Mom, what does this say? And she was like, Gracie. And of course I misspelled it like A-S-H-O-L.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Do you remember those little plastic yellow letters? We have learning time.
Plastic yellow. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and we would put them under the piece of paper, and you like go over it with crayon, and so it creates like the letter.
Like a rubbing.
Yeah, we'd be like
Oh yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
during learning time.
Learning time.
We would have Cuisinart rods.
See, that's where your mom made a mistake. She said she called it learning time, and it was only a short time of the day. She forgot to tell you that you're learning all the time, and it doesn't matter if you don't know the same stuff that kids that went to school know.
That's true.
You'll eventually get it. And it's really interesting because even kids who have never been to school.
But even calling it learning time was so much better than being like time for school.
Right, of course. And
I was like, all I see on Disney Channel is the school sucks.
And it sounds like it was play-based too. I mean, it wasn't making you do like a curriculum. It was just using
We did a little bit of
materials.
Saxon later on. Because that's when when I was like 12. Dad was like,
freaked out.
all right, it's
Yeah.
time
If
to put childish things away.
If Ethan Kraft is watching right now, I just want to say that I loved Lizzie McGuire, and that's where I learned about school.
Who's Ethan?
Who's Ethan Kraft? Oh my god, he's like the biggest hunk ever, Lizzie McGuire.
I thought he was like a friend of yours.
Lizzie McGuire.
No.
Kraft is
Ethan
watching
Kraft
right now.
couldn't have left school because he was the hunk.
Yeah.
Christina.
He had
There's no way he would do that to his reputation, you see.
So that's how you learned about school, was from Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you something else. Oh, how long did you do the Saxon math?
For like 5 minutes.
I did it for
and then
a little bit longer, I think.
What, 6 months? 6 weeks?
I don't even
Yeah,
know. I just
yeah.
know that my mom was like, hey, Gracie, you want to try Saxon math? And
Yeah,
I was
I was
like,
like, yeah.
and so I would eventually take the book and just like throw it and get so mad because
And this was to satisfy your dad.
Mhm.
So you just
This
did it for a
wasn't
little
for-
while until he quit.
Yeah,
Crumbling.
and then he didn't stop bugging us until it was like I was like 16. He
Yeah.
was like, all right, it's time to go to community college, Gracie. And then I finally within the last few years, it's been a battle with my dad. I've been like, I'm not going to school, Dad. Sorry, bye.
Yeah.
So
My dad's
the next
also,
show,
like-
we should interview your dad about like his whole journey of like letting go
We
of the
should.
fear of that kind of stuff.
We should. We'll have to do when he gets home from work. But
Yeah.
Another day.
another day, another
Another
dollar. Mr. Krabs is watching. Hey.
Hey, Amanda.
Oh, hi, Amanda. You're not Mr. Krabs, but hi.
No, but she says we're cracking her up.
Oh, yay. Is Ethan Kraft there? with you?
No.
What is that?
But maybe we can find
Ethan
him
Kraft service.
We can
Are we
find
gonna
Ethan
on
Kraft.
Facebook and post this video on his Facebook or
I just want to
something.
let you know, Ethan.
I wonder if there's an Ethan Kraft fan page.
I think it's like under like SamoanGod.com. I don't remember.
Oh my gosh. Amanda, do you have any questions for our grown unschoolers? Anyone? Oh, there's my sister. Hey, Annie Boo.
Amanda, you are here with us. You're watching us
I
on
know.
video.
Ask us a question.
Ask us so many questions.
Huh. So, yeah, we're 43 minutes into this. I guess we could do an hour
we could do a whole
one.
hour. Yeah,
Wow.
it could be like network television.
So let's
Minus the commercials.
That's
so you
right.
know what? We're not cheating you out of 15 minutes of your TV time. We're
That's
giving
right.
you all a whole hour.
a
That's
full
true.
hour.
Is Doug Benson going to be on this podcast?
Who's that?
He's a comedian.
This isn't getting done with that.
This isn't getting. He has a Getting Doug with High podcast.
Getting Doug with high.
Yeah, that's what it's called, and he has famous
He gets
people.
high with
Smoke?
his.
Yeah,
he gets high with
smokes
all his
pot
guests.
and he has like tons of different celebrities smoking weed with him.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, so we should
But
have
it's all
Doug
legal
Benson
in
on.
California,
If Doug
and they
Benson's
have their
watching.
medical card. Okay, not a bunch of dirty.
It's all
heathens.
legit. Do they show their medical
Whereas
cards?
if we were sitting
I guess
here
they are in
toking it up,
California here. This wouldn't
we
be
would
that.
probably get arrested because this is Texas.
We could lie and say we were in California.
Yeah.
Be like, this
Nobody
is
would know.
Yeah, they would. They'd be like, is that rain above your head? That is not California.
It does feel like rain. Okay, so does
You
anybody?
just use
Oh
Ted
wait,
Cruz's bomb.
no, that's the same old question that was there.
Bob said we could use Ted Cruz's bong.
Oh my goodness, good old Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite.
Your favorite what?
My favorite loser.
Booger eater.
What?
Booger eater.
Oh yeah, my favorite booger eater. He wins a
Tracy
trophy.
told me about that like 4 times. You were so disgusted by that.
It was so gross because he was just like sitting there and it like traveled from up here to down here. Is that Sam? Sam,
Hey,
come here
Sammy.
and be on the thing.
You want to
Come
be
here.
on the video?
On the video.
You're an unschooler?
Sam's an unschooling teen.
Yeah, he's an
Whoa.
unschooling teen. He's like, I don't know, popular and
Sit
stuff.
right here.
Something like that.
Maybe your brother can scoot over just a little bit. Okay, there.
Yeah. Get out of the way, chump.
Whoa.
Time for the new age.
Okay, Sam, are you glad you have been... Oh, we can ask all y'all. Are you glad that you're unschooled?
Him.
Yeah, I like it.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of behind that question that Jeffrey asked about, like, you know, and I remember I asked that of the panel when I was first started unschooling, like, do you feel like you missed out by not going to school? Do you feel like, you know, you were behind? Do you feel, you know, and everybody answered no. Everybody was like, no, I'm totally glad.
If I went to school, I feel like I would be 500 pounds and suicidal and hate myself.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're
But I mean-
unschooled.
I mean, just like, I don't know. I feel like it's a very depressing environment. I'm a very sensitive person, and I'm only figuring this out, like, now. And so, when I was about 13, going to school would have been
Oh,
the worst
God. It
thing
was
for me.
awful. It was so awful. Especially when you first start getting your period and stuff. Like, oh my God, it's the worst. All right, so are you glad you're unschooled?
Yeah. Are you gonna ask me
Yeah.
why?
Are you gonna ask me?
Damn!
Damn, Sam
He's-
got some attitude.
Only
just-
if you want
I
to
mean-
tell me why.
Only if you want to tell me why. I don't know, just because I like to have creative freedom.
Right.
Creative freedom.
I don't know, just to do whatever I want. I
Well,
mean, probably,
hold on a second.
I mean, probably wouldn't have done like the violin if you went to like school all the time, would you?
Yeah, probably not.
Well, you wouldn't have had
Probably
time
not.
to practice. I mean, your mom
Yeah,
told me
yeah.
that. So Bobby took up the violin at 12.
Yeah.
Age 12, everybody said it's too late. He can't start. You have to start when you're 4 if you want to, you know, be a serious
You wanna be
violinist. Blah blah
anyone.
blah. So, and this, so I'm going
wanna
to tell the
be
story your mom told, and you can tell me
Yeah.
how much of this is
How
true.
accurate it
So yeah, so she said that he just once he decided he was going to do it, he just started practicing all the time, and so you spent
Yeah.
hours every day practicing, and because he didn't have to go to school, he was able to take
Yeah,
up the
it was-
violin at age 12.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it was super positive for me in that way because it really was something that I could be like independent and start cultivating like a skill, you know. And so that was really positive for me. Yeah, and
To have
pretty
the
much every
creative
aspect.
freedom to be
Yeah.
able to spend your day
Yeah.
in the way that your heart wanted to spend the day. So yeah, so Sam, what do you tell me about your day? Everybody always asks, what's a typical day of unschooling, right? Like that's what one of the newbie questions that
Yeah,
people always
well, like,
ask. Which
I-
it's you know,
that-
there's no typical day of unschooling, right? But what's your typical day of unschooling?
My typical day, well, it's probably just sort of like I just hang out in my room, work out a little bit, and then like write, watch a couple videos, just kind of watch a
Lift
couple-
weights,
Yeah.
watch TV.
Yeah.
So what's it like in the big house?
Like a big house.
You do
Watch
you do a
TV.
couple of classes a week,
Yeah.
and so you do a little bit of homework for that by choice.
Yeah, by choice.
Yeah, you do
fun.
homework without anybody telling you to do it. Does anybody
much.
remind you?
What?
Does anybody remind you to do your homework?
Not really. It's usually my responsibility, but
Right.
sometimes
Man, if he needs
I
help,
have-
we're like, no.
Yeah, we're like you're on your own.
You're like, you're on your own,
You're on
man.
your
Shut
own.
up. Your mom helps you, right?
Yeah, and so does my dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes.
All right,
Yeah.
so we might have some more questions. Let's see. I have a 2-year-old. I am interested in unschooling. Where should I begin to get info when the time comes? Oh, okay. So, Carly, I'm going to put a link for lots of different books and articles and blogs and stuff like that. I'll put that on here for info. You can watch videos like this. There's lots of YouTube videos that people have put up about unschooling. I think that conferences are like one of the best ways for parents to begin to understand unschooling, because you get to meet other unschooling families and talk to them. You get to see the kids and
You
meet
get
the
to
kids.
see the kids learning,
You get to see the
too.
teenagers and the young adult unschoolers, so
Yeah.
you see that they turned out okay and they're really thoughtful, amazing kids.
You get to see the kids like thriving in an unschooling environment. And it's hard when
Right.
it's just your family and you feel like you're kind of alone.
Right.
But like when you go to the conference, it's like, oh, there's tons of other families that are doing the same thing, and look at their kids. They're not all assholes, but there's assholes everywhere.
I would say though, there's fewer assholes than there are at school. It seems like.
Yeah,
you
no.
know,
And when there is someone that's an asshole, they're all like, "What are you doing, dude? We don't like that."
Yeah, I know. There's no guys that are like asking for lunch money.
Yeah, they don't ask for your lunch
That
money.
doesn't happen. There's too much in.
We don't
the
believe
moms
in
are always
lunch
too
money.
involved with the kids in the unschooling group, so there's never any bullies or anything like that.
Oh, do you think moms are too involved?
Not too involved, but they're really involved.
Very.
You're trying to say Christina's too. No, you're like you're not involved in that way.
I'm not involved.
No, like the problem is
Right,
that
right. She means helicopter.
there were a lot of moms in the like back in the Friday Park days.
That's kind of a difference though. Well, I don't know. Okay, so I think that home education parents in general are more.
See, IHAC days was more neglect than helicopter.
No, but the island days were great. If there's any people that knew,
We
know
just had
about that.
swaps. They'd drop us off at a little swap
swaps,
place,
and
and
then
they'd
we would
stay
just-
inside. We'd play around. We'd go to the forest. That was fun.
It was literally like.
You can't. People don't let their kids run around anymore, and that's what's
Yeah, it was like
weird
Little
to me.
Rascals or something. It was
Oh my god, it was. It was like Little Rascals.
Yeah, that's one great thing about
minus
it.
the racism.
Minus the racism.
Hey, that's an ideal world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the one good thing about conferences is that even if at home your kids can't free range, they get to free range at the conference for at least like 5 days or something, and you kind of get to experience it, and then people say that they feel more comfortable allowing their kids to free range more at home once they've kind of done it at a conference.
Well,
So
because
that's-
then you can see firsthand that your kid isn't like irresponsible and that like they're competent enough to take care of themselves for a little while. You know?
Right, and then, and it's in kind of a controlled environment with the hotel and everything.
Absolutely.
So that's
But from what I can tell is like when I've seen parents let their kids run around free, they usually don't like go too far or like do terrible things,
Unless there's like a Box City involved.
Unless there's oh man.
You ever remember
If anybody here, I don't think anybody here has been to
do
the
they not have Box
Rethinking
Cities
Everything
anymore?
conference.
Amy has.
Oh, Amy. I don't know.
Amy
She's
knows about Box City?
back in like maybe early
Okay.
2000s.
Yeah, I was
conference.
probably like 8, and like it was like a war zone in there. Because there are always like the people that are just trying to like create like an awesome, box utopia city, and then there are other people that like kind of want to destroy them sometimes.
And guess what group Bob is part
I
of?
don't remember. Yeah,
So this is something at a conference where everybody just brought cardboard boxes,
Everybody-
right?
yeah, there's, like,
and
tons
then
of
they would
cardboard.
create like in this big huge hotel ballroom, they'd create a box city, but then there'd be like warring factions, I guess, of kids that wanted to destroy and kids that wanted to build.
And then they tried to make like a Box City destroy area, but that
Yeah,
wasn't
they
fun
did, but
because
that-
guess
There's
what?
no
Those
tears.
boxes didn't belong to anyone.
Right. Well, see, and that's such a good example of how when adults start to interfere with kids' play, like it makes it not fun and not. It's like that was part of it. Is like the kids like negotiating between themselves and like maybe did y'all like make any kind of treaties or make any kind of like okay we'll leave y'all alone if y'all blah 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 or
See,
anything
Bobby
like
and
that.
Eric were Lone Rangers. They didn't make deals.
no, we got together like
They were-
5 or 6 other kids, and we were like, we're gonna flatten this whole thing.
I remember you met a kid named Bingo once. The conference.
I like slightly remember that. That's like over.
He
a decade
wore this
ago.
purple shirt the entire
That's really
weekend,
freaking weird that you're.
and he never changed his shirt. And y'all went and just decimated it.
Okay, yeah, Amy Hood was at RE in 2013 and 2014, and then she came to the retreat. She came to the Radiant Living retreat.
Oh, I
the
went
first
to.
2 years.
I think I went to 2013 and 2014. So I was there both of those years.
Okay, so Amanda Griffin has a question for the Unschoolers. Do you think it's harder to be friends with traditional schooled kids or school-at-home kids?
It was always funny when we were little kids. I always felt like we had 2 groups of friends. Like we had the neighborhood friends who all went to school, and the unschooled friends. And there always was like a big difference because.
But within
was
the,
it hard?
the homeschool
No, it wasn't.
community,
It wasn't
too.
hard. It was just kind of interesting to have that kind of
It was like
concept.
situational friends because like we were bored and they're in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
never. The thing is, we never formed close bonds to them except for one.
Yeah,
They
no,
got-
we did a couple. A couple
It's
weeks.
like Brenda
Hey,
and Alfredo,
Amanda.
but they got deported.
Yeah, Brenda and Alfredo are watching this.
Brenda and Alfredo. No, Alfredo came back on the Coyote.
Oh, that's right. But he got back in the Coyote.
Okay,
Is he
so
still here?
I just realized I want to ask Amanda if y'all can hear us because there's like a weed eater or something, and I just didn't know.
Thanks for mowing your lawn.
If y'all can, let me know if y'all can hear us.
Yeah.
I know. Maybe we shouldn't do this outside next time.
I think it's. I mean, I don't. I think
nice
it's too
out.
far away. I
It
think
is.
it's
I
going to be in
hope
the
so.
background, but I think our voices are overpowering to it.
Okay, so I think this consensus is it's not harder to be friends with
No.
traditionally schooled kids or school-at-home kids.
I
it's
found
just an interesting difference.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the thing is that like within the home education community, being friends with unschooled kids versus being friends with school-at-home kids was a little different too.
Yeah.
And I found
Oh, yeah.
I found in my experience that the school-at-home kids, in my experience, I'm not saying they're all like this, but like they were just a lot more competitive, and they were just like a little bit meaner. And
Do
I
y'all agree?
No,
I don't
it's
remember.
I spent a lot more time with them than you did.
Yeah, no, I've always been like a lone wolf.
Yeah, Bob.
Didn't
Yeah.
really care.
But like I found myself like just being more, just like falling more into the crowd of the unschooled kids that were there. Like when we would go to
Yeah,
Excel,
it was always more fun. It was always more fun.
It
with
was
the
always
unschooled
more fun
kids.
because the
With
people.
the unschooled kids?
Because
Yeah,
it usually,
just
I mean,
whatever.
usually how it happened was that the homeschool kids would be like, well, I don't know if I can do that because I don't know if my mom would approve.
Right.
Or like they're just a little bit more tight asses to me, and we were just like, that's not as fun, and that's not.
Right.
And it's like you get to choose who you want to hang out with, you know, and nothing wrong with being a tight ass sometimes, but I just wasn't into that. I wanted to hang out with we hung out with Andrea, and do you remember Kiki Kinzer?
Yeah, the Kinzers.
Kinzers.
The Kinzers are rad.
The Kinzers were rad,
Yeah.
man.
Hey,
Actually coming over
Kinzers, y'all are rad.
The Kinzers aren't here, are
The
they?
Kinzers
I'm
are
friends
watching.
with a couple of them.
Yeah, maybe Kay's watching. She's like,
We-
"Come
Kay,
here,
are you
give me
watching?
your sister."
Yeah, we can
You
tag
have
'em.
a notification from Pinterest.
If Kay's watching, please don't hack our podcast.
Kay can do
We
that. She's
should
becoming
do
a
it.
hacker.
Maybe. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool. So Kay's an unschooling mom.
We should get unschooling moms with grown unschoolers.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Cause she's
So,
got a
yeah.
mix of she's got 3 kids and 2 of them are in school and one of them didn't go that route either.
So 2 out of her 3 unschooled kids are in college or in college still, and 1 chose not to do the college route.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't speak for her, but I don't know. I just think here's my thing. I'm not going back to school, so
Yeah.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. And the more we've talked on this live video thing, the less I want to
Go to what? School?
go back to college. I don't know. And the other problem is that there's nothing there that interests me enough to want to do that for 4 years and go into all that debt and like
What if
be kind of miserable,
So,
honestly.
But just curiosity's sake, if in 10 years, if you all of a sudden had an interest in some sort of career that, you know, you had to do a degree, do you think you'd be, are you saying never, or are you saying for my foreseeable future?
For my foreseeable future, I mean, I'm not one to say no to anything like that, like to have like a concrete no, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of a flip-flopper. I was vegan for 2 weeks, and now I'm
How
like,
was it?
2
Even
weeks.
shame.
where's
And
my
now you're like
steak,
McDonald's coming your
motherfuckers?
way.
So
Oh, yeah,
I want to
Getting
hear
shot
about.
in the ribs.
Do you think you might go to college? What do you,
Yeah, I
what do you think?
I might go to college, but I mean, I don't really know what I'd go for.
Are you 15? You've turned 15 in May.
Yeah, I turned
Okay.
15 in May.
Yeah.
I'm still 14.
You should go for birdology. What is it called?
Ornithology.
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 No, that's way gone. That was like 7-year-old Sam. Now,
Oh.
Now he's too
Uh-oh.
cool for that.
yeah, too cool for that.
Yeah. You should go for like archaeology, like Indiana Jones.
Or River Song.
I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah,
From
that's
Doctor
Who.
Who.
Yeah. You're sitting on a Doctor.
Any Whovians out here? We're sitting on a TARDIS blanket.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's got grass all over it.
Yeah, it's fun. We've been playing with grass.
And dog fur.
But
Yeah, we've been playing with grass this whole
Probably
time.
dog poop too.
There's probably a
Probably
little bit of dog
petrified,
poop
but-
on all this grass.
Is Peter
Christina, you're
Capaldi
probably
ever-
touching dog poop right
What if
now.
Peter
Ah.
Capaldi was
No, I
watching
said you
this?
probably are.
I'm not.
Would he be offended?
No.
Know what I mean?
Would
That
be-
area's probably been pooped on before.
Do you think that? Do you think
Think about
Probably.
that.
Do you think that Peter Capaldi would have?
Capaldi.
Capaldi has ever seen this show?
What show?
The show?
This
Are we on a show?
podcast?
Well, it's our first episode.
It is our show.
So,
Episode 1. I'm in the pilot.
Well, no, we did.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna make a few cast cuts.
oh
No.
no! And the
We're going in
I
a
don't
different
know.
direction.
I like this cast. It would be fun to like have
Yeah.
y'all.
You should come
ask-
over here more, and then they can join
Yeah,
sporadically.
then we
Play
can
some
then we can
change.
join in.
because
Yeah,
then it's
join
good.
on
I mean,
fun.
We
I
have
really,
several. We have several like points of view and several individual lives to.
Yeah.
Sounds like we got the dream team.
Oh yeah, baby.
I think so.
Bum bum bum. Ba-da-da-dun-dun.
Dream team.
So,
What?
oh, what was I going to ask you? Oh shit.
Shoot.
Oh well.
How do you feel about?
How do you feel about like creamsicles?
Oh, will you unschool your kids?
Oh yeah, that's a
green,
good
green.
one.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Mm,
I know Gracie
Not-
That's
I will, but I know for a fact if you and Andrea have kids, they're not going to be.
will. Uh oh,
unschooled
Andrew might
at
be
all.
watching.
Here's the
And-
thing,
Andrea wants-
Andrea, I think we should have Andrea on here because she didn't like it.
She
Didn't like
was
what?
she
She
at
didn't
home?
like unschooling
I
that
thought she was
much.
school
yes,
at
she did.
home.
Did she?
Wait, I thought she was school at home.
Well, I just think it just basic like.
She
My
was.
theory-
The thing is, she was schooled at home, but it was like up to her
No,
to do
she
it.
really
and
wasn't,
She
though.
didn't. Oh, really?
She really wasn't though. No.
But I mean, she did like online like homeschool classes,
Khan Academy
right?
sort of stuff.
Did you do-
Kind
did
of,
she do,
but like more like kind of like not actual like going to Richland type of stuff.
Well,
But it-
right.
So
right.
was it stuff she was interested in, or did she have to do the Khan Academy
Well,
stuff that her
her
mom said to
stepdad,
do?
her stepdad's version of homeschooling was, they were only able to watch Discovery Channel until 3, and then then they could watch it when they wanted. 'Cause that's
I
Arthur.
watched the
Arthur comes on after that.
Is
and
Arthur comes on after that, and I'm in.
going to the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Yo, I caught Houston and Dave watching Arthur the other day. It was just the two of them. There was no little
I like
kids.
how Arthur is has gotten modern now. Like I watched Arthur the other day, and they're like
Stop
watching
putting dead
using
grass over
iPads. And
Oh
stuff.
yeah, they have internet. They've
Yeah,
got all
they have
kinds of
internet, they have
Arthur's awesome.
They have
Yeah.
internet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why did they
That's
become
pretty
so
good.
high tech? Did the
I don't
brain
know.
do all
because
this?
Yeah, it's probably the brain.
it's
network
Arthur
that-
for the 21st century, Gracie.
I only watched Arthur from the 90s. They,
Yeah, I know, like, I
they
loved when
spent
they were
their
just, like,
days
playing
going
with-
to the Sugar Bowl,
They were
okay?
playing with Furbies for like half the season. I know.
So if anybody just joined us, you can ask these unschoolers a question if you wanna.
You wanna? You
Hey.
can ask us like what our favorite color is.
Yeah, you can ask us. It doesn't even
That's
have to
okay.
be things about unschooling at this
Yeah, it could
point.
be
We've
like-
covered all of that.
so much anything.
Talk to me about Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I know a lot about it.
No, but the
See,
new
that's the
Pee-wee,
part
have
of
you
being
seen the new
homeschooled.
Pee-wee?
No.
No, the new
Oh, the
Pee-wee's
new
great.
Pee-wee
That's
movie is
actually
good.
pretty- it was funny.
We recommend it. If you
Yeah.
are not annoyed by Pee-wee Herman in the slightest, you should probably watch it.
Yeah.
How many
But I know there's a
stars,
lot.
or should we do thumbs up? Everybody
I
give
would
us
give,
Two
I would give
thumbs.
2 thumbs up.
Two
If
thumbs
Paul
up?
Rubens is watching.
Yeah.
Paul Rubens, if you're
Paul
out
Rubens,
there,
if you're watching.
I bet you're a big
6
fan.
thumbs up.
Thumbs
There you
up.
go.
6 thumbs
you
up.
you can't vote yet.
Yeah,
No, I
you
haven't seen it yet.
But you
Four.
did you like the original?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I
She
saw
saw
it in the theater.
theater.
Whoa!
Oh,
What?
shit.
Yeah.
How about
Didn't you
Big
go?
Top? You probably like Big Top better than the original.
Big Top was
No,
terrible.
I don't think I saw Big Top.
Big Top was a horrible
I was
excuse
probably
for
older
anything.
by that point. and
Big
was
Top
like-
was the
Big Top.
worst.
Yeah.
Big Top was
Alright.
terrible.
I
What do you
know.
guys think about Big Top?
Best of the trilogy.
Big Top Pee-wee or Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
And then,
hands down.
and what's the new one's called?
Oh, Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Big Holiday. So,
Yeah, so this
y'all
is
let
a-
us know your thoughts.
Ah.
It's great fan service sometimes.
It was great fan service. Yeah. It was great fan
They're
service.
good about that. They're good about
There
that.
was good fan service in there.
Yeah.
And
If you, yeah.
what do you guys think about unschooling?
So, what do you think about? Would you unschool your kids?
No, probably not. I don't,
Why
I
not?
don't know.
Because you don't. Why? All right, tell us why.
I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I'd be suited for it.
What do you?
Why
What do you
not?
spank? What? You spank your kids a lot?
I don't know.
Why not? Like, because you don't
What?
like to hang out with kids and like play with kids, or
No, because I don't.
You be sued for it? What?
I don't know. What are the requirements?
Okay, no. Okay, Okay, as a parent, what would throw you over the edge to like spank your kid? Like, what would be the final straw?
If they touch my Lego set.
If they touch your Lego set? Okay.
That's 50 lashes.
I already have to say it.
One finger on that tower and it's 50 lashes.
If they touch my plate of stevia cookies, I'd say bitches back off.
If they touch my Indiana Jones Play-Doh set, they'd be going down into the cell.
Indiana Jones Play-Doh set.
I love Indiana Jones. What do you guys think of Indiana Jones?
Yeah, that's it.
If Harrison Ford is watching,
Harrison Ford, if you're watching, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull wasn't terrible. Just kidding, it was.
We're so sorry what happened in Star Wars.
We're so sorry about Han Solo, Harrison.
This is like turning into an episode of Car Talk where like they just laugh and
my brother's dead.
I was laughing about spanking your children and like
All right, let's talk about cars, everyone.
throwing them in a dungeon.
What do you know about cars, Christina?
I don't know
broken
that
down.
much. I know how to change a tire
What would
and do jumper cables.
Would you get a
Okay,
smart
that
car?
Smart car?
Yeah.
You mean those tiny ones?
Yeah.
No, I don't want. No, I have too many people.
Oh, yes.
Well, you get one just for you in case you
you
decide
need
to
to
run
escape.
away
Yeah.
for a minute.
Yeah.
And then that way you could be like, nope, nobody can come. It's only two-seater.
If I was gonna
I'm
get a
taking
little
both seats.
two-seater car, I would get a convertible.
So that's
Oh, that'd be sweet.
then you could just let your hair blow in the wind.
Oh, sweat.
Bob,
All
what
right.
do you know about cars?
So no more questions for the unschoolers. All right. Well, we have
We
been
have
doing
22
this like
viewers.
an hour.
I know. Maybe everyone's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what questions. They're under pressure.
Andy's here.
Hey, Andrea, just in time.
Here's our
Tell us
source.
about your unschooling experience to the live viewers.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
20.
22, 18. We
18.
just lost a view.
We just lost him.
Oh, shit.
They're like, oh, they're bringing more people in. Fuck this.
Ratings
If
ratings are
Amy's
losing.
watching, were you at the Sangha the other night for Chi Sing? There's a
I
guy
don't
with
think-
really long dreadlocks there that looked like If I Amy.
Oh yeah.
Z.
But
Does he have really long dreadlocks?
last time I saw him,
If
he
you
did.
had dreadlocks,
He has
you
more
could
like
just be an
big
unschooler.
dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrea, tell us about your unschooling experience. Did you like it?
Yes, I definitely liked it. I don't know more specific
Stick your
questions.
head right there. Well, we just asked. Okay, so we asked. There's been lots of questions, but
Okay.
what? Your answer is yes. You liked
Yeah.
unschooling. Will you unschool your kids?
I don't know about that. I've gone back and forth because I think unschooling worked really well for me, but for my brother, it didn't. And so I can really see how for some people it would work great and others it doesn't. And so it might depend on my kids. It might depend on what I'm doing when I have kids.
Right.
I have definitely not decided. I mean, I would consider it, but I've seen for my brother that it wasn't the best thing. He needed more structure, really, and ended up going to a private school.
I think one of the biggest strengths for unschooling is that it gives the individual person to figure out like what type of person they are. It gives them that breathing room to where they can like really be like, okay, I'm like a worker, I like structure, or I like to just like kind of hang out, you know. And so, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think.
Did your brother choose to go to school, or did your parents decide for him?
It was pretty much a decision made by my mom, but he was in a really bad place at the time, so he was not really able to make any decisions.
Like
really.
kind of depression kind of
Yeah,
stuff, or
exactly,
okay. And then did going to school help him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of get out of that.
Yeah, he had friends there. He went to like a therapeutic school, I guess you
Okay.
would call it, and so they definitely were aware of his issues. His education was really fine-tuned to his needs, so it wasn't like he was just thrown into public school either.
So, and from my perspective of like what unschooling is if you're fine-tuning an education
Yeah,
to the
it's
needs of a
true.
kid, I mean, that's kind, it's, there are varying, there's a spectrum probably
Yeah.
in terms of like some people are the kid decides everything and what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And in your parents' case, they thought, well, we're going to make this decision for our kid. But then once he was there, it was like, we're just looking at his needs and
Yeah.
trying to meet those as best we can. And,
Yeah.
and so then did he choose to stay and finish out?
He
Was
did,
it high
yeah.
school?
He graduated high school from there. I think there might have been times when he was frustrated, like he he didn't want to go to school every day of the week, and I think it was kind of a struggle for my mom of whether to kind of force him to go. And she was working, so at times it was like, you have to, just because that's your only option right now. But,
Yeah.
So it definitely was a different situation from like typical unschooling, but I think it kind of had that at its root, since, like I said, it really was not just like public school where he was forced to do all kinds of stuff he didn't want to do. It was,
Right.
he had a really supportive environment, and it was kind of specialized to his needs, so.
Well, that's good.
That's pretty good.
But I don't think at all times he would have been like, yeah, I love going to school. He might have been.
Right.
But
Yeah, I
his
think-
alternative was staying in his room by himself all day long playing video games. Like no social interaction, didn't want anything else. So that's, yeah.
And so he had a hard time kind of getting out and being with other people unless he went to school and kind of had to do that.
Yeah.
And Mama Owl was there.
Oh, Mama Owl. Do you remember Mama Owl? We would always see Mama Owl.
Yeah.
Who's Mama Owl?
She was just like this
the,
very motherly person that would like shepherd all the people in. She's like,
I used to
I'm Mother Owl.
I used to pick him up from school. Like my mom bought me a car so that I could do that, basically.
Yeah, and I was
so
always with her.
Bobby was
She's still
usually
got
with
over
me,
level.
and there was this lady there who we called Mama Owl.
Because she literally
at
like,
the school.
Yeah, at the
she
at my
literally
brother's.
walked him out
Oh, there we go.
and give him a little kiss on the head.
Aww.
It was so cute.
That's a very
like-
nurturing environment.
I know,
think
and then
she ever-
sometimes she would like, sometimes she would like, sometimes she would get on one knee and like present the kids stuff. Like he was like, she was like proposing to them. Remember?
No.
Oh,
I think Bobby has made some stuff up in his head.
I think
He's created some
Bob's
memories.
been able to let his creativity flourish.
And it's got some
throughout
great
school.
freedom.
yeah,
We made up songs like ever since I can remember.
yeah. The first song I ever made was called Needle Dick Man. When I was 7.
I was just thinking that.
Can you sing it for us?
Needle Dick Man, if you have a skinny weenie, it's a Needle Dick Man. It's really long, something's really wrong, it's a Needle Dick Man.
This is supposed to be about education.
That's what happens when you become homeschooled, is that you run free and make songs like that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it might be time
Past
to
an
wrap
hour.
this up.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up.
All right, so if you want us to do this again, comment in the video. We'll do some more Ask an Unschooler videos if anybody wants us to do that.
Yeah.
And anything else we need to? Oh, follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram and YouTube and the Facebook page if you haven't already. Radiant Living and Learning.
I have an idea that you could do like a GoPro on like a kid that's unschooling. It could be like in the life of with like a GoPro on their head.
That'd be funny.
What do you think?
You'd have to get the kids. So Sam, would you wear?
Would you wear a GoPro? Like a day in the life of
I do
of
it.
an
I do it
unschooler?
for a day.
So you have,
What?
to wear, you
I
have
would-
to wear a GoPro on your
Yeah.
head for 24 hours.
As long
No
as you
one
get the
has
kids
a GoPro though.
I'll
That's
keep
your
a GoPro.
fit.
That's
your
my-
fit.
Okay,
my
so
pain.
there's an idea. We'll
Yeah.
kick that around. I bet Houston would say no to that.
You know why? Why?
I don't know.
Maybe if he
Get
could.
it.
Maybe if it
Yeah.
came from Samuel and not you.
Right.
Get it
Okay.
for
So
You
your
want to wear
GoPro.
GoPros?
Yeah, let's all do it.
Let's all wear. Christina, do you want to wear a
Can we
GoPro
just
with
do
I'll
me?
that?
wear one.
Let's just do the podcast like that.
Okay, so catch our next podcast with GoPros. No, I don't
No. Catch our next podcast sometime. We'll do it sporadically.
know.
Nice.
One of these days.
One of these days.
All
So
at once.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Peace out.
Peace out,
Peace
Girl
out.
Scout.
Unlike-
Peace. Tai Chi.